Hey everyone out there in the land of YouTube, this is Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network. Thank you for joining me tonight, or whenever you're watching. It's Wednesday. Today's April 13th, 2022, and the moon has been in Virgo, I believe. Yes, it's in Virgo. Very good practical day, down to business, kind of a day. Good day to start your gardening if it's warm enough where you live. We've gone through a big shift in temperature. Today it was actually seasonably warm, so that was nice. That was refreshing. The news today, we had yesterday tragically a shooting in New York City subway in Brooklyn, and gratefully nobody died. People are injured. Let's take a look at if anything's going to happen with, I can't, it's just anything on gun control. Anything. Just give us something. Don't give us nothing. I mean, the fact of the matter is, there are people that are mentally unstable. And people that are mentally unstable, that have, violent tendencies, or just really disturbed, need to not have guns. Well, I don't see why anybody really needs to have a gun anyway, but we're not having that debate at the moment. Guns need to not be accessible. If they're going to be accessible, they're going to be accessible. But geez, have some guidelines. Anyhow, I felt like it was a lone wolf kind of a thing. Some disturbed person who, I didn't feel like there was racial motivation or anything like that. I don't think, they did catch the guy. And when it happened, I had just come back from a walk and turned on the news, and lo and behold, that's why I was feeling a little agitated. I think I was picking up on it, likely, and because there was nothing else going on that I would have been agitated about, and so I was just picking up on the energy of it. And when I first heard about it, my first response was they'll find him, and that they'd find him very soon. It's like law enforcement has a lot of tools, and when people have some cameras all the time, we would never known what happened to George Floyd if it weren't for the fact that people have cell phones with cameras. So the chances, I thought, of him being caught and arrested were pretty good. And fortunately nobody died, but if I had to take the subway every day, I think I'd have to just change jobs or leave or move, or it's too traumatizing. So let's see, I want to just take a look at the subway shooter. I guess that's probably what you'd call him, right? The subway shooter. And see what was behind it. What was going on with him that he felt the need to go in, throw in a smoke bomb, get people in confusion and chaos, and start shooting. The guides are saying he had voices in his head. So that might be schizophrenia. It just feels like there were voices in his head that told him to do it. Obviously, I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that that's what I'm picking up. There was some demonic force. From my perspective, the King of Cups, he's going to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and he will be seen as not a sane person committing a crime. More of like, whoa, this is, it's the sense I get about it is the subway shooter was like classic schizophrenic, or classic, just something really very mentally disturbed, but very diagnosable in the sense that oh yeah, that's that. And it's interesting because it's not coming up as strongly like sociopath, malignant narcissist. It's not coming up as that as much as it's coming up as the subway shooter was mentally really just tormented mentally, just didn't know which way was up, kind of. So, you know, as I said, I'm not justifying the behavior. I just wanted to see what kind of energy was going on there for him mentally. Very, very, very highly disturbed individual, very much not at peace. And I guess I heard he turned himself in, so so he had some presence of mind and didn't have the wherewithal to make a clever escape or, you know, something like that. So it's really unfortunate. We have to pray for gun laws, background checks, and, you know, back when Gabby Giffords got shot in the face, I mean, there's just so many things that it's unbelievable that nothing's happened with gun law reform. And then, you know, Marsha Blackburn at the hearing for Ketanji Brown Jackson, you know, sitting there and going, well, there's too much crime, and there's too much crime, there's too much violence. And, you know, she's in the red state that everybody's got their gun. I lived in Tennessee. All the women are packing heat when they're, you know, going to the bar, going to the grocery store, you know. I'm just saying. So let's take a look at if gun law reform is going to actually happen. Gun law reform, just gun laws, period, right? Then you get the Marjorie Taylor Greens, you know, with the poster, with her holding the machine gun, and, you know, next to Omar and AOC. And this is America. That's not what the Second Amendment was for. Plus, when that was written, they had, like, rifles. Jeez, unbelievable. Gun law reform, we're looking really horrible on the world stage. We need to get it together as a nation. It does look like gun law reform is going to happen. I have said that before. There's going to be a time of it being weighed out, and, you know, this bill, this law, that law, you know, and you know the Republicans do. They say no just for the sake of saying no. So it looks like yes, but it actually looks like there's pressure on the world stage for America to get it together with this gun law thing. Finally, already, by now, right? So temperance is, you know, they're going to take some time to weigh it out. And if they just had mandatory background checks and like a waiting period between, I don't know anything about gun purchasing, so, but if they would just get on board with, let's take away the worst kinds of weapons. Let's just take them off the market. Amazing. But I see somebody in the Senate really stepping up. It looks like a male, obviously a Democrat. I mean, yeah, obviously a Democrat who's gonna make sure that gun law reform happens. Harder to get a gun happens. We are a violent nation, you know, and it's not lost on me, you know, on a slightly separate topic. I was, you know, kind of thinking about the Madison Cawthorn situation. Some news show was talking about how Madison Cawthorn grew up. Well, he's violent too. I mean, he's proposing for, like, he's advocating for a civil war. Basically saying, not in these words exactly, but I don't know what his exact words were, but there was one point when he basically said, let's just go shoot the Democrats. Anyway, the point was made that Cawthorn grew up, really, he was just a child when Sarah Palin came around, and then, you know, Donald Trump was his guru, so there you go. And then, you know, when the whole Rittenhouse thing happened, and we got to see the glorification of violence and guns, it was like, I don't know how you, honestly, how you, and the reason that, with the Rittenhouse thing, the reason I was so upset about, you know, about how screwed up that kid was because Kyle Rittenhouse, to make no mistake, that's one screwed up kid. Like Madison Cawthorn, I'm not justifying their behavior, I'm just making a point. They're products of our society being the way that it is. And it's important that we look at that as a nation and we decide what kind of examples we want to give, you know, for our children, because the Republicans are advocating for people that have low IQs, at least in terms of leadership and government and politics. The Republicans are advocating for, like, we heard Mitch McConnell supporting, backing Herschel Walker, who doesn't know his what from his what. You can fill in the blanks. This is the kind of people we're producing. The kind of consciousness. So anyway. Gun law reform. Let's find out more about that. Just a little more about that. Yeah, here we are. I get this every time I look at gun law reform. Stalemate. I mean, it does look like some senator will lead the charge. Maybe it's Senator Whitehouse. He does a lot of good work. Senator Whitehouse has the perfect name. He does a lot of good work. But I do feel that. But then, it's going to get stuck. It's going to get stuck. It feels like it's going to, gun law reform is going to get stuck. And the Six of Swords means, I do see it moving forward to some degree, but we're going to go through time of more stuckness. And then the guides are telling me it's going to turn around November. When the karma card is coming up, and that's interesting because, these Republicans that are advocating for just guns, which is sick, they're going to have hell to pay. It's going to backfire. Excuse the pun. It's going to backfire. Let me see, because I want to ask a couple things about that. If the Republicans don't support gun laws, I see it sort of us being strung along till about November, which is interesting that I'm seeing it turning around then. Is this due to the election? Not really. Oh, yeah. Well, not at first. Not at first. I see gun law reform. No, it doesn't feel connected to the election, but it just feels like around that time we're going to see gun laws go into effect. Are the Republicans going to suffer some kind of unfortunate event that forces them to turn this around? I'm getting yes. The plot thickens. So that's gun law reform. Sounds funny to say reform. Gun laws, period. All right, I'm going to ask the cards this because of the way that's sort of, where that's leading me right now. Because I actually am starting to see that the Republicans have an about face, and it feels like it has to do with some kind of a gun event. I'm just trying to follow the thread here. Oh, well, okay, I feel better about it now. Yeah, there will be, I don't predict bad things. There'll be a lot of mourning, and the Republicans they'll want to look better, believe it or not. And the Empress says, we will get reform. So these violent incidences at least reduce. Now the thing that's got me going, I don't want to say too much, is that I'm not so sure that we're not going to have another big shooting event. But we can pray it away. Is this referring to a large shooting event? Okay, and it says no, but the reason that I'm asking that is because it seems like there's a big shift in the way that the Republicans view the need for gun laws, like that they go in favor of gun laws. Gee, I spent a lot of time on that, didn't I? It's important. It's important. It really is. Okay, so let's go to... I want to go to Fox. I mean, I don't really want to go to Fox, but I want to take a look at Fox. And I don't know if any of you watch Fox, but I think it's a good kind of a... It's probably as bad as watching a Trump rally. Maybe a little worse because there's so many of them. But let's take a look at what's happening. What I want to see is if any of what's happening on the world stage and on the, domestic stage, if this is having an effect on Fox News in terms of, are they considering changing the way they do things? I'm just going to ask that. Is Fox considering changing the way that they're doing things? Because, like, for instance, what I'm getting at is, like, they're all their support of Putin, and then the war happened, and, just that week before Putin declared war on Ukraine. Still can't believe it. I know none of us can believe it. Anyway, so Tucker was going on about, why do we hate Putin so much? Why do we hate Putin so much? So I'm just asking, is the tone, have they been encouraged at Fox to change the tone? Like, all they do is bash Biden and blame him for gas prices. And honestly, just speaking of, mentioning Herschel Walker, it's really amazing to see the Republicans or those that are running for Senate or Congress, it's amazing to see how little they know about leadership and even politics and government, how little they know. But like on Fox, it's like, listening to Herschel Walker is like, or many of them, I can't think of any names right now, but many of the people running for office that are Republicans that really don't know their ass from their elbow. That's how that saying goes. They're, like they say, oh, gas prices, oh, inflation, oh, you go in the store and the shelves are empty. Well, fortunately for me, I don't really go to the store that much anymore. I get my groceries delivered. But anyway, when I have gone to the store, the shelves haven't been empty. My point is that they have these certain talking points, and they're just like bullet points. Hit this one, hit this one, hit this one, hit this one, and which is the same thing that happens if you're talking to somebody who listens to Fox all the time, watches Fox, and it's like a parrot. They just parrot the same points. I mean, I know that you guys already know this, but I'm just thinking out loud. Crazy, I tell you. Now, I'm asking a simple question and all these cards came up. What's up with that? Well, I guess it's a long story. That's funny. What's happening on the world stage is having an effect on Fox. The longer this genocide goes on in Ukraine, the longer Putin's war continues, the more, believe it or not, the people at Fox are getting concerned that people are going to start finding out the truth, that Fox was backing Putin. Putin was backing Fox. Entertainment purposes only, Putin was backing Fox. And Fox is backing Putin. Yeah, when you think about it, they had Tucker Carlson over there, and, they were talking about having Tucker Carlson going over there, and before the war got, to be as, there's no word, as awful as it is, they wanted Tucker to go over there. So here it is. The Fox is actually getting concerned about how bad they're starting to look on the world stage. I know you don't believe me. But what's not believable is that it's out of conscience. It's not out of conscience. It's out of greed. Are we going to be able to continue to sell this? The worse the war gets and the harder it is to hide what Putin is doing. This is Fox. I'm not talking about Russian television. I feel like Fox is going to start changing its tone to keep their viewers. And I feel like they're going to stop. Oh, this is interesting. They're going to stop, Fox is going to stop considering Trump like the emperor. Interestingly enough, and I feel like they're going to start touting some other Republican. I wonder who that is. like Fox is going to start like sort of like backing a different Republican than Trump. I'm stunned to see this. Anyway, he looks like he's younger. Well, Trump is, he's getting up there. So I'm just saying that, Trump is getting up there. So if I'm seeing somebody younger, that leaves, there's a lot of options, right? I'm actually thinking whoever it is not in the limelight yet. Fox. Is Fox going to change its tune? I do. I feel like they're going to be challenged by, believe it or not, by the Democrats that are, the people, American citizens. Maybe grassroots of democracy, all our tasks are paying off. One can only hope, right? I do see that there are challenges to Fox. These are financial challenges. Remember, Dominion is suing them for billions. Remember that? We're going to see some changes at Fox. We are going to see some changes at Fox. It looks like they're doing it because they want to keep their viewership up, but I'm actually seeing a decline in viewership at Fox News. Fox propaganda, I didn't mean to say news. Wow. Times they are changing. Let's hope so. So let's ask about this. Is Fox News losing money? They're losing money. Okay, has it been since the war started? Has Fox News been losing money since the war started? No, it was actually before that. Is it because of the lawsuits? Is Fox losing money because of the lawsuits? Yeah. Fox is being sued so much that they're starting to consider changing their trajectory. It's all about money. That's why, we've been writing to the Fox News advertisers, and, we have a whole list. grassrootsofdemocracy@gmail.com. Type I in the subject line. If you don't hear back from us, check your spam. I always have to throw that in. We are the taskmasters. We're getting a lot done, and we have complained to the Fox advertisers. But there's an organization out there called Stop Fox, I think. Anyway, so we're not the only ones that are writing to the advertisers. So I'm getting the Fox is going to have to change some things because they're greedy and they don't want to lose money. Hey, whatever works. Whatever works. So let's see. Next. I do my homework. I have a list. Let's look at what's going to happen with Herschel Walker because, Mitch McConnell... You have to watch that interview with Mitch McConnell and Jonathan Swan because it's just mind-boggling how much Mitch McConnell is like all in it for himself. And he actually sat there and said, oh, Herschel Walker would be a great candidate. I don't know exactly what he said, but... And I'm not going to do a Mitch McConnell interpretation because I would be really bad at it, and I just think he's the ugliest person inside and out, and that's what I'm going to say about that. I want to look at how Herschel Walker is going to do because if they just want to promote dumb people, it's frightening to me that people would vote for dumb people. Frightening. Herschel Walker will be stopped. He refuses to debate, by the way. And so did Trump. Trump said that he wouldn't debate again. Was it Trump? Somebody said they weren't going to debate again. Well, Trump was trying to get rid of the debate, that whole debate thing, right? That whole idea. Anyway, it's because they're stupid. Because if you're intelligent, like for instance, Ketanji Brown Jackson, she won the debate club, I don't know, many, many, many times. If you're smart, you invite debate. Unfortunately, in this country, we've lost the art of debating. It would be really nice to get it back, because it's like, just because you disagree with somebody, you can always learn from somebody, if they're reasonable, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about talking to a cult member, but But it looks like Herschel Walker is going to be blown out of the water by people who question him. And he's going to be, like, he won't be able to stay in the race because he looks so foolish. And honestly, furthermore, why would somebody who doesn't have a handle on what's going on run for office like that? Like, do you remember Sarah Palin? They've been showing this clip of Katie Couric at the time that John McCain must have been, I don't know, uninformed. Or that was divine intervention. John McCain wasn't supposed to win the presidency or something. But Sarah Palin couldn't name a magazine that she couldn't name what she had read before. So I'm seeing that, you know, the stakes are too high in Arizona. No, in Georgia. I meant to say Georgia. Sorry. The stakes are too high in Georgia for Herschel Walker to gain any ground there. The people are rising up. Don't be fooled. Georgians have had enough. And I think Stacey Abrams might have something to do with Herschel Walker not gaining much ground there. Okay, so much to keep up with. I'm telling you, so much to keep up with. But anyway, do watch that interview with Mitch McConnell. It's very revealing, you know, and you know, it was super revealing that the day after January 6th, during the impeachment hearings, he said Trump, you know, bears full responsibility for what he's done, and then he turned around and supported him. It's just how they could be in the public eye like that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going on about how upset I get. Let's get back to the facts. There's a lot. Oh my gosh, there's so many layers to what's going on with the January 6th investigations. It's just mind-boggling. We're going to ask if Trump is going to be prosecuted. Let's ask that. You know, I do listen to Milou, who has a YouTube channel. Milou, you guys probably know Milou. And he, you know, unabashedly says that Trump's going to jail. Let's see if we get the same thing. In the past, I've seen that he would avoid it because of health problems. Doesn't mean he wouldn't be sentenced. Is Trump going to jail is the question. Looks like it. That doesn't look very happy. Okay. Pendulum time. Oh, while I'm thinking about the pendulum, I filled the first class for April 30th. I have 10 people for that class. I filled the second class for May 7th. What would the next date be? Obviously the 14th. So I'll have a third pendulum class on the 14th. So it's going to be Saturdays. It's just one class. It's 2 hours. So, not to confuse you, but if you want to, if you're interested in the pendulum class, send an email to AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. Let me know you want to sign up, and I'll send you an email back. Is Donald J. Trump going to be prosecuted? Yes. Yes, that's a yes. He is. Whoa, okay. And I'm looking at, yes, he's going to be prosecuted. He won't be able to, he's going to be fending off as much as he can, but he won't be able to continue fending things off. And I'm getting the Queen of Wands. I'm wondering if this is Melania. I'm getting the Queen of Wands around Trump going to jail, and I don't know why I'm connecting this to Melania. All right. Is it international? What? Okay, why am I seeing Trump's downfall connected to Melania? Is it international crimes? International crimes. She may be forced to leave the country. Is that true? What did Melania do? Entertainment purposes only, but that's what I'm picking up. Weird. It's weird. That's weird. The guides are throwing me some curveballs. Gosh, what would... You know, Melania always struck me as, oh, by the way, the other day I was saying that Autumn at Black and Orange calls Jared Kushner an evil mannequin. And the reason that I'm even bringing that up right now, I just thought that was just so apropos and hilarious. The reason I'm bringing that up right now is because Melania is also an evil mannequin. It's kind of like a breed of human. That woman, oh, I don't know. She's I don't like her at all. She's getting no warm energy at all. Let's see what's going on with that. Now that I've just totally opened up a can of worms. Melania having something to do with Donald Trump's downfall. Seven of Wands, trying to get, like, this is whack-a-mole, trying to just keep the information down, keep the information down. Oh my goodness. So it looks like Trump was involved in really trying to build his own, he's like Putin, trying to be like the Tsar. And the guides are saying Melania did something like, I don't know, it feels like she was being coerced into communicating something to someone overseas, and it kind of got found out and didn't go anywhere. Didn't go further. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'll look into that a little bit more in the future, you know, because I think we're going to find out more about how she was connected to something that was going on nefarious with Trump. So even though I'm talking about January 6th, I'm actually feeling like with Donald Trump, I'm not really only reading about the January 6th committee. It's also other stuff. And I think the other stuff was what Melania was involved in. I wonder if it was the Epstein. That might be just too big of a category for me to go into right now. But I'm getting that there's a connection to Epstein. I might have to ponder this and get back to you. Let's look at what else. Let's just look real quick. I saw a clip of Sidney Powell, you know, what do we want to call that? The shoe polish melting press conference, or it was an RNC thing or something. Anyway, Sidney Powell got up there and said, it started spewing all this ridiculousness about how the election was stolen, and that was the same time that Giuliani's hair dye ran down his face. He needs a hairdresser, I guess. But anyway, what's the fate of Sidney Powell? Just kind of curious. I just sort of like, I'm pulling these questions out of the air tonight. A little random. What's going to happen to Sidney Powell? That looks like jail. That looks like crime against the United States being the Empress. Some women judge, prosecutor has taken Sidney Powell down. And I associate that with the Dominion voting machines. She's done. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. So, you guys getting your Easter eggs ready and everything? I know not everybody celebrates Easter, but it's very widely celebrated. If not that, you know, Ostera, if you're a Wiccan. Happy Ostera. Church of Spirituality is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 services. Yes, I'm doing 5 services. I'll post it 8:30 p.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then a sunrise service, and then a 1 p.m. Eastern Time service. But the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are going to be just short. If you're into celebrating the sacredness of the season, join me. Cipollone testified today. Let's just take a short look at the January 6th committee. I'm not going to delve into what's going on in Texas tonight or the Texas Abbott and all that. I don't think I'm going to delve into that tonight, but I do want to look at what's going on with the Cipollone and the lawyers. I just want to look a little bit more at the January 6th committee and what's coming up. I actually got this feeling today that the January 6th committee is just like, there's never a dull moment. They're really like, not that they're enjoying it, but it certainly is interesting. I feel like that they feel like they're on a crime show. like, you know, what was it? I just feel like they feel like they're on a crime show. Oh my goodness. This January 6th thing is this committee is it's gonna turn the magician card is coming up. They're gonna be showing us some magic just in terms of what they're able to do with all this evidence that they have. I actually think the January 6th committee is going to emerge victorious in terms of finding out all the truth, having it on full display, and getting the results that we want, which is that the American people, at least enough of the American people, know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And then the Republicans are going to have, speaking of eggs, raw egg on their face and looking really bad. And also, speaking of the Republicans looking really bad, we know that Mark Meadows was taken off the rolls, the voting lists for, because he committed voter fraud. You can't make this stuff up. Pretending that he lived in a trailer in, I forget where. Someplace where he didn't live. Let's see. Is what's going to happen to Mark Meadows? See, I got started on this, and there's a whole list. So let's just look in general. What's going to happen? Let's look at what's going to happen to Mark Meadows as a result. Because he's been, he was found in contempt of court. So Mark Meadows doesn't know what to say or what to do. He's really looking ridiculous, and the justice card is coming up for Mark Meadows because there's too much evidence against him. We are really, tonight I'm just saying these people are going to have their day in court, literally. And is a January 6th, the hearings that are going to be televised going to make are they going to make a major impact on what happens to American democracy? Well, this is going around in a circle. So I need to ask the question differently. Are the January 6th televised hearings going to strengthen our democracy? Yeah, I get a yes on that. It's not a strong yes, but I get a yes on that. The January 6th committee hearings are going to strengthen our democracy. Because more people will know the truth, and then they'll know that they don't want to vote for Republicans that are criminals, because they are all criminals. Not every single last one of them, but most. For the last thing that I'll look at tonight, or today, or whatever time of day it is, the last thing I'm going to look at is, speaking of people, a collective group of people changing their minds, I'm just going to briefly look at, because I saw a little clip of Putin just totally sticking to his lie story that the Ukrainians are Nazis and that they have to be killed. I know, it's unbelievable. So I'm going to look at, are the Russian people starting to be suspicious, and I want to see if the Russian people that are being given all this propaganda, all these lies about Ukraine and what's happening there, are they starting to reach a tipping point where more of them don't believe what Putin's saying? Yeah, because the Russian people are suffering. So they are starting to not believe what Putin is saying. I don't think they're going to come public about it. But the Russian people are going to start to have a way that they can hear what's really going on, and that I just feel like the people in Russia are going to have a way to speak out. And I don't think it's immediately, obviously, but I'm kind of seeing a bridge, like, you know, the Russian people have a bridge to the truth coming up. So, and I did take a peek at, and I have a couple times, how much longer is this horribleness going to go on? And I feel like in 4 to 5 weeks, we're going to see a shift in a new direction. It's a better direction. I do get that. So that's what I have for you tonight. Thank you for joining me. And I will be back. Actually, Corey and I did a show yesterday. If you didn't catch it, go to Bridge Cape Ann. I forgot to put that one on my timeline, I think. I mean, on my community page. But anyway, I will. So we did a show last night, and we'll probably do a show on Friday, but it's still up in the air with all the Easter stuff. If you'd like to book a reading, it's AnnetteDionPsychic@gmail.com. Oddly, I have a lot of time. What happened? But I'm going to be doing more classes too. So thank you so much. Namaste. We'll see you soon. Love and appreciate yourself. It's really important. Okay. Your contribution. And it matters. All right. Good night. Goodbye.